Alright guys, we're back in my garage for another video, and today we are going to be talking about sponsorships. This is something that I get asked about pretty often because a lot of people see that I've got sponsors even with less than 10,000 subscribers, at a certain point with even less than 5,000 subscribers, and they're just kind of curious, what I did to get them, how the sponsorships work, and what they can do to kind of put themselves in a position to get sponsorships as well. And it's kind of a taboo topic, right? Because everybody wants to make sure the whole world knows when they have sponsors, but not a lot of people talk about the actual process and details. So in this video, I'm going to share everything that I can just so you guys understand how things worked for me and what I've learned. So hopefully this can help you out in the future if you're interested in working this out. Now, as always, for everybody that's new to the channel, I create videos to help keep you guys updated on the latest developments in our community, as well as discuss technical topics so that we have a better understanding of how our engines work. So if you're interested in more videos like that, be sure to subscribe because there will be a lot more coming out in the future. So sponsorships, again, are something that are kind of a little bit of a secret that people don't talk about a whole lot. And I think that causes a lot of confusion. There are a lot of misunderstandings and assumptions being made that aren't really accurate. One of the biggest things I've learned is that people assume that once you get enough followers and enough subscribers, then all these sponsorships just kind of come raining down. And that's not necessarily the case in the sense that more followers can definitely help you get a sponsor, but it doesn't guarantee anything. The main thing that you want to remember is that a sponsorship is really a modern form of marketing, and you're more or less working for the company if they choose to sponsor you. So something you can think about is if they put, an ad in the newspaper or on TV or whatever, there might be, 1% of 1% of people that are actually interested in those parts or whatever they're selling. If they put it on a forum or somewhere that's, going to have a much better audience, it still might not create enough noise to actually pull people in and drive more sales. You'll see little banners at the top of websites and things like that, but not everybody really clicks on those. So working with an actual social media influencer that you can partner with to create content, post videos, make recommendations and things like that will definitely make sure that you're targeting the right audience and you're actually driving sales. And that's really the bottom line for a sponsorship from a company perspective, right? You need to drive more sales so that they can increase more profits, primarily, hopefully, above and beyond what they could do without your support. So that's really what the bottom line is. And you want to think about, for your case, what you can do to help support this company to help increase their sales. Now, I know social media influencer is a term that kind of gets a bad rep nowadays. I know a lot of you guys are looking at me thinking, Kev, you're just a cute face. Nobody really cares what you think. But ultimately, in the background, I am doing a lot to help the companies that are supporting me. I do a lot of messaging and answering DMs of different people that are trying to plan out their builds and pick out parts that they want to go with. And a lot of the times the questions I get are, would you do things the same if you had to do it again? Or what would you do if you were in my situation? And every once in a while, I even get people that just come straight out and say, what can I do to replicate your build? I like what you have going on and I want my car to be the same. So in those cases, I am very directly helping drive sales to the companies I work with by recommending the products I use and showing people how it works, how much power it makes, what the reliability is like, and things like that. So even though it might not be, the term that everybody loves using, it is something that is applicable in a case like mine where I can actually influence people through my social media to drive more sales. Now, of course, on the other hand, you need to make sure that this is something that is worthwhile for you as well. And I think this is also something where people get a little bit greedy. And so I just want to talk about the different types of sponsorships. And maybe this can help you gauge your expectation on what kind of opportunities might be available to you, depending on, your actual goal for your car and your build. So the first one, and probably the one that most people associate with sponsorships, are getting free parts. And free parts are definitely awesome. Several companies will send you parts and ask you to create a DIY and a review on it to help get the word out there. But free parts are really just heavily discounted parts. And I like to think of it that way because the more expensive a part is, the more difficult it is to get it for free. Especially if it's like a 4-figure part, they're typically not going to offer that for free unless you have a significantly huge reach, a lot of consistent engagement, and really good evidence that you're going to help them recoup that cost and make additional profit on top of it. So for example, with my build, I know some of the parts that you guys see that are sponsored on my build are in the 4-figure range. None of them are free. I'm getting discounts in return for creating the content, but I'm coming out 3 or even 4 figures for a lot of these parts out of my own pockets to pay for them. But the discount still makes it worth it because you can look at different things like Black Friday deals and like big sales that they've done in the past. And I make sure that it's a discount that they wouldn't typically offer. So in that case, I'm basically getting something above and beyond what they would typically give out to any other customer. And in return, I'm helping drive sales and putting a lot more energy to supporting them than any other customer would probably do as well. So it's kind of like has to be a win-win for both sides, right? It has to be something that's worth it for you as well as something that makes money for the company. Now, this doesn't always work, especially for smaller companies. If you're working with somebody that's mostly like a one-man show or just like a smaller company that doesn't have an incredible amount of sales, then they might want to take on a lot less risk. And what I've seen in this case is sometimes people will ask you to pay full price, but as you drive sales for them, they will basically reimburse you your costs. So for example, if you buy a part for $500 and they say every time somebody comes and buys a product and in the notes or whatever, they put your name and say that you recommended it, I'll give you $50 back. And after 10 sales, then you'll get fully refunded. That's a nice way for them to limit their risk because now they're not giving you parts for free or a heavy discount without knowing what you can do in return. But you're also going to see a return for your work by getting those reimbursements every time you drive a sale towards their website. So that's a nice way that I think it works out, especially with these smaller companies or businesses that just don't really see the value in having social media marketing through an influencer. And you can still see a nice benefit on your end, potentially even something for completely free, and good evidence with this company that shows that you're able to support them from sales. And that usually means in the future, they'll also extend more offers to you. Now, above and beyond that, probably my favorite is an affiliate link. With an affiliate link, you're basically able to send customers to the website. And if they buy through your affiliate link, you get a kickback. So it might be 1% of the sale, 3% of the sale, something like that, where the company still makes a profit, but they split a little bit of that profit with you in return for you helping drive more sales to their website. Now, this is really nice because everyone that I've worked with is kind of like the sky's the limit. So as many sales as you make, that's as much money as you can make. So you don't get like stuck once you hit the value of the products that you bought from them or anything like that. You can make $100, you can make $1,000. It's really based on your work ethic, your reach, and kind of how well you market products through their website. So this is something that's really convenient. I always make sure my affiliate links are in the description. Anytime I create a video with a company that offers an affiliate link, I make sure that I describe that in the video. So if somebody just wants to support me, a lot of times people will ask, hey, I want to buy this part. Do you work with a company that sells it so that I can support you indirectly as well? And again, it's just another way to help drive more sales to them, but it also is a lot more benefit for you because you basically become a salesman at that point and you kind of dictate how much money you can make. Now, the last one is paid ads, and this is probably the least common one until you get to kind of like the higher level with hundreds of thousands or maybe even millions of subscribers, followers, etc. This is a case where a company will basically pay you an amount of money and you'll talk about their product for 60 seconds, or they'll pay you an amount of money to put something on your car and kind of showcase a product of theirs, create a video for them and things like that. Now, this one is one that I kind of shy away from. And the reason is because I don't really want to promote a company in my social media that I haven't worked with directly. So I only promote companies that have actually provided parts on my car that I've actually purchased from. Usually I actually even get a chance to talk to the owners, and that just creates a better relationship for me so that I'm comfortable promoting their product to you guys. But that's not always the case with a lot of people that you'll see out there. People will say, I'll pay you X amount of dollars, and you tell people that this is the greatest product out there. So that's the only thing I would say be a little wary of. Usually those come with a lot more stipulations because if they're paying you, they're not going to let you give any kind of negative feedback on the product. So if you have any issues with it, you won't be able to share that openly and can just kind of sway how that is actually being managed. So that's why I don't personally do it, but it is something that happens. So now, speaking of my details, let's talk about how things worked for me. Now, I've been doing YouTube seriously for about 2 years now. I actually got my first sponsorship before my channel was even monetized. So I had less than 1,000 subscribers, but I was still able to work with this company to kind of sponsor my build. And my priority here has always been basically helping accelerate my build with the vision that I have in mind. So even as soon as I got the car, I already had an idea of how I wanted it to look, how I wanted it to drive and sound, and all of that comes into play when I'm picking different modifications for my car. I don't work with companies that don't fit into that vision. So a really easy example is companies that make carbon fiber parts. I've had companies reach out, they're good companies, they make high quality products, but I always decline them because I'm not really interested in putting carbon fiber on my car. I know a lot of people say, you need a carbon fiber hood or carbon fiber spoiler and things like that, but that's just not something that matches the look that I'm going for with this car. So I really do pick and choose who I'm working with based on my actual goals, and I don't work with everybody that gives me an offer, but I also get a lot of no's from people that I reach out to. It really just depends. So my primary focus is picking a company that falls in line with my goals. I present all the information that I have as far as like my engagement, how many views I get a month, how many clicks, likes, followers, subscribers, all that across all of my social media to help illustrate a full picture of how much reach I can get. I also make sure that I put all of my sponsors at the end of every video. So some of you guys have seen my outro. That's the purpose of that. I put my sponsors in the description of every single video as well. And of course, like I put them in my bio on Instagram and things like that. So I make it very visible so that people that support me know who else is supporting me. And in turn, hopefully that helps motivate them to buy from those companies. Another big thing is my content is very specific to the BMW B58 platform and slowly kind of sprinkling in some S58 stuff. But when I started making videos, the B58 development was really growing quickly. And so that kind of helped motivate some companies to work with me as well because these B58 products were new and a lot of people were kind of jumping on the train, buying 340i's and Supras and things like that. And if they worked with me, I was one of, the really good opportunities to help get the word out there about their product, how it installed, how it worked, and different ways that it could help people reach their potential goals. So again, I basically associate a lot of that with why I was able to get sponsorships, even with less than 10,000 subscribers now, even last year with less than 5,000 subscribers. I was up and coming at that time, but people saw an opportunity in me and the way that I create my content to get it in front of the right people so that they could get more sales. And yeah, I mean, that's really like the main gist of how things work. Again, remember, it's a partnership. It's a little bit of give and take. Of course, it has to be worth it for you, but it also has to be worth it for the company. I think a lot of people approach sponsorships from somewhat of a selfish perspective, which I understand. Parts are expensive and we want some kind of discount to help accelerate our build. But if you're not planning on putting in some work to actually help motivate people to buy parts, if you're not going to be able to help, provide some level of customer support and, troubleshooting and things like that, it makes it a lot more difficult for a company to want to go that route. You really need a good following and a good way to illustrate what you're going to give back to the company and how it's different than what they're already able to provide for themselves in order for them to invest in you. And that's really what I've found made the biggest difference for me. So let's go ahead and talk about the actual sponsors for my build. The first one, of course, is my DOCRace Turbo Kit. DOCRace extended a sponsorship to me right before I got monetized. Actually posting that DIY video was one of the big pushes that helped get me 1,000 subscribers and allowed me to monetize my channel. So I really, really do appreciate them. This was something that I was very interested in before I got the kit. Like I said, I paid a lot out of pocket as well, but they did extend a discount in return for creating the content, creating the DIYs, and just overall reviewing the product. It's not going anywhere. I love EFR turbos. I love the style of the kit, and I'm very happy with how it performs currently. Eventually, I'll probably go with a bigger turbo, but for now, I'm really happy with the one that I have on there, just my little EFR 8374. The next sponsor is OdinTuned, and he's my tuner. And I work with him specifically because I knew him even before he was actually publicly tuning other people's cars. So I'd had a lot of technical discussions with him offline about different details of reading logs and how tunes work and things like that. And he was tuning other platforms. And when he decided to start tuning B58s, I talked to him about that and we agreed on a way that he could sponsor my build and tune my car as well. we have done a lot of work, and this man is very detailed and dedicated to making sure that your tune is as clean as possible and runs as strong as possible. You guys have seen how strong my car ran with just like a TU pump and things like that. So there were a lot of details that we were able to dive into, and he also helped share the information with me since he knew that I really like to understand that information and get a better feel for what he was changing with every revision and all of those things. So yeah, definitely highly recommend OdinTuned if you're interested in getting your car tuned. He is very well vetted, has tuned several cars now, and just a great person to work with. My next sponsor was Keys Motorsports, and this one was especially special to me for a couple reasons. One, of course, Brian over there started very similar to how I did. We don't make the exact same types of videos, but he was like a mobile installer, so he would post different DIYs for how he would do like coding and things like that on his car as well as his customer's car. And now, several years later, he's blown up to have his own shop. He has his own website where he sells parts, and his videos are going crazy. So, it was really cool to partner with him, with somebody that was kind of, in the same position as me, I guess 3 or 4 years ago. But he also was super excited to help support my Dorch high pressure fuel pump testing. And some of you guys saw the videos that I posted where I compared a TU pump to a Dorch Stage 1 and a Dorch Stage 2. That was all facilitated through Keys Motorsports. And I was kind of racking my brain, like, how can I make this cost effective? Do I have to buy like used pumps and things like that? And I presented the idea to him, and he jumped right on board and agreed to sponsor my build and help make that a little bit easier on the wallet. So huge shout out to Brian for agreeing to help support me on that. I really do appreciate it. Those videos did well, and I learned a lot from it. So definitely a great experience. My next sponsor is Eurocharged Cincinnati. They are my local shop where I do all of my dyno testing. I wanted to find a shop that had an in-ground dyno jet, somewhere that was low car friendly, which my car can get on the rollers. Barely, but even with the front lip, it does fit on there. And it's able to get me really good consistent numbers. They know how to set it up and make sure that, you're getting good readings that you can compare before and after and things like that. They also offer EuroCharge tunes. They work on a variety of European cars, Mercedes, Audi, basically any German car, even American cars and others, of course, they can work on as well. They install aftermarket parts. They do wraps, lots of different things. So yeah, I highly recommend them if you're in the Cincinnati area and want to get your car dynoed. It's a great place to do it. They'll take care of your car and make sure you get really good usable readings. And they also, of course, offer a lot of aftermarket support. So great guys to work with. BlackV Dash Cameras was my next sponsor, and these guys are a top of the line dash camera company. Super excited to work with them. They also have an affiliate link down in the description. If you guys are interested in buying any BlackV products, you can use my code Kern417 for a 10% discount off anything on their website. Everything is extremely high quality. Of course, some of them are more expensive than others, so they have different products depending on your budget. But they have front cams, rear cams, front and rear, interior cams, basically whatever you might need for your build and to keep your car safe and just give you additional security. They have a product for you. So super happy to work with them. I actually have other dash cams that are getting ready to go in my other cars. So definitely excited to get those going. Paradigm Engineering was my next sponsor, and this was completely pivotal in creating the build that I have today. I do have their aluminum oil filter housing, and I highly recommend it for anybody that wants to add an easy 200 horsepower to their build. Depending on the color, of course, if you get a red one, it makes a little more. The black one I have makes a little bit less, but overall it's still a really great investment, and it's a really high quality kit that they're continuing to revise. Now it's got, the little magnet inside to help separate metal from the oil and things like that. So they're continuing to innovate on that product that, as small as it might seem, is definitely a nice piece to replace the stock plastic and can have some additional benefits as well. Ross Racing Performance is also sponsoring my build with their PCV Delete Kit. This is something that I think more and more people are starting to jump on nowadays as we see more PCV failures. And I worked with Matt when he was actually developing the kit. I know all the testing and things that he did before he released it. So I think it's a really high quality product. It's made by a B58 owner. He has his own 340i X drive, and that's part of the reason why he designed this kit, because he wanted a solution for himself. So it's just a nice way to support another member in our community. And he, of course, agreed to support my build because my videos are helping, get the word out for his product. So definitely check out Ross Racing Performance if you're looking for a PCV delete. or catch can solution. And then last but not least is Bimmer Network. These guys have been great to work with. Trevor over there, most of you have probably DM'd him or messaged him at some point, but he runs the B58 discussion Facebook group, and he also runs the Bimmer Network website, selling products from a variety of different vendors. He sponsored my build, and I went through him to get my port injection plate as well as my Motive Reflex port injection controller, and both of them have made it a lot nicer and more convenient for me because now I'm able to run up to full E85 without losing any power, whereas before with just my Deutsch Stage 2 pump, I made more power on E50 than I would on full E. So now I've got flex fuel enabled and all of the different convenience features that prevent me from worrying about getting my mix exactly right and things like that. So I really do appreciate him working with me and making that a possibility for my build. And he also has an affiliate link down in the description. If you use my code KERN417, it'll take some money off of your order as well. So again, another way to support another B58 owner that's helping give back to the community. So yeah, I think that sums up everything. Sorry this video kind of got drawn out a little bit, but there's kind of a lot to discuss. And I do think that there are a lot of different ways that this can work. So there's no 100% guarantee that you're going to get sponsorships by following my recommendations. I follow my recommendations, and I've heard no plenty of times. So it really just kind of depends on the circumstance. I've had some people say that they didn't want to work with me, and then they came back and changed their mind. And it just really depends on what's going on. So keep your options open. Again, understand that it's a partnership, not just people sending you free parts. And make sure that you understand what you're signing up for. And that really gives you the best chance of success if you're looking for a sponsor. So yeah, that's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope this helps. And if you have any other questions or comments, leave them down below.